faces to see. I tell you that much.
All right, all
Uh,
right.
the
Yes, yes,
people.
yes. We're coming back with more fire in the counselor's corner. I am your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the controversial counselor. Joining me is my co-host, the big bad wolf, Herb Lewis.
Oh,
Well, tonight, Monday, August 21st, we have a special guest, Fonz Carter. He will be discussing with us how he changed his life around and created a brand new life for himself, along with the clothing line that is growing with popularity and setting the world on fire. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Fonz before we allow him to introduce himself. Fonz Carter, an author, speaker, raised in the Buffalo Niagara Falls region, has spent the last decade of his life sharing his story with hopes to inspire those who face similar challenges. After escaping a life sentence and multiple attempts on his life, Fonz has successfully launched a clothing line, Brand New Life, while co-executing, producing, and starring in Pure, the movie series. Not satisfied with his achievements, Fonz continued to produce quality content, releasing his full length album titled Nevada's Death, an amazing collection that includes an album, a book, and a documentary. This collection reveals the critical pieces of how he reinvented himself from a life of crime. Fonz has graced many stages throughout the East and West Coast, displaying his gifts with the goal to bring hope and positive choice awareness. So, good people, please like and share this video. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. So, here we have it, another Monday. And man, the summer is gone, and I'm back into the full mode grind of school, and I ain't ready for it, but it's here. And we gonna have a good conversation tonight. What's going on with you, big bad wolf?
man, it's it always saddened me, to transition from you know, happier times to sadder times. I generally don't share too much news like this, but my family, myself, we are mourning the passing of our youngest sibling. She was 47. So people, get out there, man, and live your life, embrace your family, man, because they say life is short, but we don't realize how short until we realize how short. So other than that, man, I can't complain. I'm still living, man. So I'm gonna make it do what it do.
All right. For me, like I said, it's getting back into that mode of school and just realizing like damn, I'm an old head in the school. I'm like one of the old dudes up in there now, and and it's just crazy. Like year 19 in Baltimore County and overall in education, think damn, like maybe year 29, 30. So I'm one of those old dudes. So I expect one of these years, one of the kids gonna say, "Yeah, my counselor, that old ass motherfucker, that who got him." I know it's coming, but so far I still been able to, I'm still cool with them. They still, they still vibe with me and still look at me as somebody that's relevant. So I'm just trying to hold on to those years. But enough of that. We got Fonz Carter, our man, like our little brother. Remember him from the boys' club,
Yes,
breaking for the fresh ones, and all of that stuff. And man, and you said in the world, you doing big things, man. And I like what you're doing, and just to be able to turn stuff around like that. And a lot of people can't do it. They try it, but they go back to their old habits, and it ends up being like a cycle. But you kind of got the clothing line going on, the movie series, and always like an innovator, trailblazer, and just trying to come up on a positive note.
can't believe it.
So you can, tell our audience what's going on with you, who you are, and we'll just go from there.
Well, first of all, I appreciate it, bro. Like real talk. I know most interviews start with people say I appreciate it, but the fact still remains. I do appreciate, because everybody ain't everybody ain't being interviewed right now. You know what I'm saying? So that means I must be doing something. And at the end of the day, that's what my purpose was. My purpose was to come home from prison and show my community, man, not just my community, but communities like mine, that you can reinvent yourself. So the fact. So again, I appreciate you having me on, man. I've always liked what you was doing, man. That's why it was a no-brainer when you hit me up. I was like, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of introducing myself, I pretty much think you put it in a nutshell. You know what I mean? We came up in the same city, Niagara Falls. Shout out to the Falls. Even though when I got like 16, 17, I start moving and shaking, man. I was stoned. I still came up in the Falls. That's where I was raised at, but once I got into them young man, 16, 17, 18, man, I was all over the country, man. So, but again, man, it's a pleasure to be here, and shout out to everybody that tapped in, man. Tap word, because I've been seeing you doing this, man. How long have you been doing this? Because I just want to like kind of brush up on, because I see when I'm scrolling through, I'll stop and I'll check out some of your shorts, because I noticed you put a lot of shorts and stories up. So I check all them out. But can you give me a little bit of information on the audience, the demographic, and how long you've been doing it, so I could kind of like curtail my thing towards that?
Well, it started from my book, Cocktail Conversations.
Okay, familiar with it. Very familiar.
That
with
was like 2014, and I never had no intentions of being an author or anything. But I used to put out posts, and my brother Carlos, Los, he is like, "Yo, dude, where you get all these stories from? Whatever, where's this stuff coming from?" And I was like, "Dude, it's just like chronicles and conversations." He's like, "You should write a book," and I'm like, "Write a book? I'm not a writer." And he was like, "Dude, you always had a creative mind." So that led me to think like, okay, I'm working in the education field. And then I stole this line from one of my buddies. We started at the same time in Baltimore County. He always said, "Yo, Baltimore County schools ain't my daddy. They don't dictate everything that I do." So when he was saying that, he was like, "Yo, we gotta branch off and create your own brand." Then I told Carlos, I was like, "Dude, nobody trying to buy a book from David Glover." They go like, they like, who is he? Whatever, the fake relative of Danny Glover. I said, I got to come with a name or something. So that's when I came up with the controversial counselor. So
that's cool.
So after that, it just took off, and then opportunities opened up that I had a blog talk show with people out in what's that area? I forget. Damn, out in California, the Oakland area,
Sacramento.
Yeah, Sacramento area. That I had a blog talk show, was doing that, and then did that for years, and then had other opportunities. So then eventually I said, man, let me create my, as virtual stuff went on, more platforms opened up, and I said, hey, I might as well purchase a platform and just go on here and do my thing. So it's been about like 9 years, but we know stuff don't happen overnight, so you just keep grinding.
And how long you been co-hosting, bro?
Shoot, I think I've been riding shotgun with David for about 8 years.
Dang. Y'all boys.
The irony is, in my Facebook memories, what we were just talking about with the fire and ice. So that now, see, this is the thing that a lot of people don't know, is if it wasn't for David, who put me on with the producers who was doing his show earlier, I wouldn't be sitting in the seat doing the show with him. So I always tell people, where I got my start in life isn't due to anything that I've done. It's due to the doors that the other people have opened for me. So I always tell people, you never know where an opportunity is going to come from, and you're aware of that yourself. You never know what door is going to open, what path to what thing. And my right-hand man, Carnell Birch, when he finished his master's at Damon, he tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, yo, why don't you run for city council? Because he was running for mayor. And that opened up doors that I never thought. So, I mean, I look back on the path that I've taken, coming from Niagara Falls, and we all here, we all started out pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I mean, some of us made some decisions that landed us on a different path, but we always seem to find our way back to the good. And I think that's what your story is going to illustrate. No matter if you like me, who's always been on the straight and narrow, David, or yourself, you always have the ability, as long as you get your mind right, to do what you need to get back on the good foot. So like I said, despite everything that's happened in my life, man, I'm where I should be. And if I don't want to be here, then all I got to do is work out. Is like David always say, man, in order to get comfortable, you got to get uncomfortable. So, that's what it is.
I like that one right there. I got it. I don't know how old it is, but it's new to me right now. That's facts right there, man. That's facts.
And I think from that, because like if you had a life of being comfortable and no issues, what it's going to lead to is just complacency.
Yeah.
So the only time you want to grow is when you start feeling uncomfortable. It's like the matter of when you're in bed trying to get into that comfortable position. The only way you're going to get comfortable is dealing with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or those shoes that you like, man, I like these shoes, but damn, these shits don't fit no more. So eventually you're going to have to do what you got to do to get a new pair to feel comfortable. So sometimes you got to be uncomfortable to get comfortable. And a lot of people just be complacent and they like being uncomfortable. They're comfortable being uncomfortable. That's never been my thing.
No, that's that. Oh, I gotta give me 1 second. I gotta write that down right there.
You can always go back and watch some rebroadcast
okay,
too.
All right. Uncomfortable. Yeah, because it's not just that it sound good. It's just so true to me. That rings true to me, man. And and a lot of people don't want to be uncomfortable. They so busy complaining with the fact that they uncomfortable. They don't realize that that's the truth. Like, well, dang, since I'm uncomfortable, actually, this is I'm in position.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in position to get comfortable. And that's a good way of looking at it, though, for real, bro.
Yeah. So, True Fonz, man, it's a lot like you were out there in that world, like you said, at a young age, 15, 16, killing the game, and then what made you finally say, you know what? Because a lot of people they'll go to work, they'll stop doing what they used to do to be comfortable, but they'll stop. But then they'll say, okay, I'm just gonna work. I'm gonna work. Then they say, nah, this ain't cutting it. I'm used to a different lifestyle. And how did you get to the point and you said, this is it? I'm walking away from all of that because it's something greater for me out there.
Well, there was actually several things, but I would say that probably the three most monumental ones. First is my relationship with God. To be specific, Yeshua, Jesus. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Once I built a relationship with something outside of myself, I knew that it was bigger than me. So what that did for me is it took the attention off of me. Like everything ain't about me. And before, that's what I used to think. So that would definitely, that's the key. That's the foundation. Secondly, man, it's as corny as it may sound, reading. You know what I'm saying? I probably never read a full book, man, until I got locked up. And when I got locked up, I was 27. So I hadn't read a full book my entire life. And that's just facts. Until I got locked
about
up.
That.
You know what I mean? And the first book I read, man, I hadn't even been out on bail yet. It was Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know what I mean? Which is obviously a classic. A lot of people that's one of them beginner books when you first start reading. Somebody gonna pass you that book. You know what I'm saying? Or recommend it. That book, man. Listen, that book was so impactful for me, man. I literally start crying in the middle of reading it. I'm on a top bunk in Erie County Jail, man. No bail, locked up. Old timers like, yo, check this book out, man. And halfway through it, man, I start crying, man, because the information, it was so simple. And what I think what made me cry is that how didn't I not know this? You know what I'm saying? Like this is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know what I'm saying? And I looked at myself as being a sophisticated dude, mentally as well as fashionably as well, But so I'm like, how didn't I know this, man? Now I'm in prison facing 30 years of life,
Mm.
and this information is being presented to me, and I'm like, bro, I could have been. I don't even have to be here. You know what I mean? So that right there, what it did for me though, as I felt convicted. I felt like an idiot, just being honest. You know what I'm saying? I felt like an idiot, and I never saw myself as an idiot. I felt I was very intelligent. I felt that I was charismatic. My confidence had. Listen, I didn't lack in any confidence. So for that to be thrown in my face to say, yeah, bro, as confident as you are, now you laying in prison facing 30 to life, and the first book you read halfway through, if I would have just used the information from half the book that I read up until that point, my life, the trajectory of my life would have been totally different. So that hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? That hurt my feelings, man. So reading, so naturally, what that did. That made me, when I finished that book, it made me go into another one, and then another one, and another one. And at some point, I started getting. I dove into just what it is, what it means to be black. What it means, and to be specific, what it means to come from Africa, being African, being African American. And once I started studying my people, that was it, man. Because I started reading about people like A.G. Gaston, Vernon Jordan, Judge Mathis. That's just a few individuals that I started studying.
Judge Mathis is solid, boy.
Oh
Yeah.
man, is he, bro? And his past was crazy. Like he was a knucklehead. He was wild for the night, And I was just able to identify with him. I was able to identify with him, and it's kind of cliche. I'm like, shoot, if they did it, I could do it. So I started to distance myself from being like this legendary drug lord, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to realize our at least mine's, my idols was dope boys. Whether it was my uncles, whether it was my sister's boyfriends, whether it was stories that I heard about people, in the city, whether it was Pat, whether it was Fat Cat, whether it was Alpo, whether it was Rick Ross, the real one, you know what I'm saying, on the West. Like we heard of these stories, you know what I'm saying? So those dudes is like superheroes to me. So once I realized,
jump in here for a moment.
Uh-huh.
Let me jump in here for a moment. Even though Niagara Falls is as small as it is, I don't think people realize the significance of drug trafficking in the city, and especially when we grew up. Mm-hmm. And people will talk about. I may not know this. I always tell people, I said, look, I know more than I'll let you know. And I know you know. Right. So when you said the 30, that hit home. I ain't hit close to home. That hit home. Because I remember when I was at Buff State going to see my peoples who was already looking at 38 and the third under the Rockefeller statue.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it's what he's telling you is real. And we, and I'm glad you got him on here, David, because we need to push this message that there's more to life than the streets. But a lot of brothers aren't getting this message until after they fall on the wrong side of the tracks. So, no matter where you are, like he said, open them books. I know it may sound tedious. When I had my mentoring program, I was stressed. I don't care what you read. If it's smut, if it's a sports page, at least 20 minutes a day, man, read something. Open your mind, expose it.
Mm-hmm. And that's always going to be a big deal because, like you said, no matter whatever you read, you're gaining knowledge, you're gaining understanding. And we have to think about, we just had Tony Riley on here a couple weeks ago, and
he's Tony Riley. I heard that name.
And he's pushing this charter school for Niagara Falls because by just coming back and working 1 year there, he see what the issue is with a lot of these young men. And, some people who've been, we know how people are connected in Niagara Falls in the education system. They have their hub and they continue to eat well. Meanwhile, we struggle And a lot of times we talk about black males because we are black males. I mean, we
Yeah.
don't,
Oh yeah.
we're not disincluding females, anything, but as a black male, you think about the struggles growing up as a young boy with different things. So a lot of times, a lot of young boys say, the school shit ain't it. And when they removed vocational stuff out of schools, they say, and they pushed college. A lot of boys are like college. You got to read, you got to write, but you don't have to do that much. You still have to do it with trade, but not as much because some people are just gifted with their hands, and they
Hmm.
can learn and catch on to stuff real quick. And once they removed all that, a lot of guys resort to say, "I'm gonna hit these streets, man, to make this money,
Yeah.
whatever, because I gotta eat, my family gotta eat." But back in the days, you used to be able to step out from high school at 18, 19, making a significant amount of money that your life would be okay and you ain't have to resort to that. But they took that away. But that's a
Yeah.
whole nother, that's a continuous subject that's going to continue to be going on. But we're going to let you go back, Fonz, and drop some knowledge.
Yeah. No, that was funny because you said vocationals. Those, I never thought that just having the fundamental education in terms of the vocations, just being able to do like basic electric, basic carpentry, things of that nature. Just knowing that, man, just broaden the horizons for you.
Hmm.
And I'm speaking for myself. Because when I went to prison, man, I see. I knew that I knew I had to make a dramatic change. I had to like totally step away from the person that I wouldn't say totally, but the habits that got me in there, I totally had to step away from those because I didn't totally step away from myself because you are who you are, and there's some great
Right.
things about. We all possess great things about ourselves. It's things that allow me to maneuver in the drug game to get to the level that I got to. And I
Hmm.
call those transferable skills. I
Yeah.
was able to take those right out of the game and bring them right into whether it was, the movie industry, whether it was the clothing industry, but speaking engagements that I do. I was able to, I still kept the gifts that God gave me, whether it be characteristic, personality. I use all of that. But the things that, um, the shortcut, just wanting to, just always feeling like, because in the hood, you can establish a mentality where you around people, they just trying to figure out how can I get to the bag quicker. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How can I get there quicker, and how can I get there without as sweating as much? And that became, what I'm saying, my ideology. I was like, man, listen, I'm trying to get to the bag. So whether I got to sell drugs to my own people, whether I got to stick up somebody, whether I got to set somebody up, it was crazy. So those are the type of things that became disgusting to me. And I didn't want no part of that no more. And that came a lot from being able to read, being able to experience different people's lives and different people's struggles. Like when you're reading about somebody that you feel like they struggle was 10 times worse than yours, and you seen them come up out of it, man, if you any type of man, a real man is gonna be like, man, listen, man, I gotta step my game up, man. If he did it, I could do it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like when I learned, like for instance, A.G. Gaston, his book was called The First Black Millionaire, and he came up, man, in the early 1900s, man, and this man was walking door to door trying to
Oh.
sell health insurance. You know what I mean? Like just every day, he just getting up. He had a schedule every day. He was young too with it, and he just stayed consistent, man, consistent. And obviously, it took some years, but at some point, man, this man became a multi-millionaire and different, and he had different revenue streams. But the whole story just being walking me through the struggle, man, just it spoke to me, man. It spoke to me in volumes, man. So I no longer wanted to get it the short way. And then when you later learn, when you read, and again, reading is key. When I didn't know nothing about the Iran Contra, like I knew nothing about that. I knew nothing about the war in Nicaragua.
Oh yeah.
Knew that the country,
Yeah.
knew that the CIA brought cocaine to the West Coast and eventually traveled through the United States and eventually to our communities and affected our aunts, our uncles, our mothers, our friends' fathers. When I learned that, man, I was pissed off. I'm like, yo, so this
Yeah,
whole conspiracy
it
theorist
can,
thing,
man.
yeah, I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah,
and I'm a product of that. Once
yeah,
you learn of that, at least me, like, bro, you can't tell me that you sending me down this road, and then I turn around and continue to go down the road, and you my enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do those, and it may be just from pride or whatever it is, but I can't do that. I can't open a book and read how crack was supposed to impact our people and then see that and to experience that and for me to turn around and continue to do it. Wasn't easy though. Obviously it wasn't easy because I did it my entire life. But I just refused to just be a part of it anymore. And if I was gonna be a part of it, it was gonna be from the other side. You know what I'm saying? Sharing my story,
yeah.
going back up in prisons. I've been in a bunch of prisons, man. Bunch of prisons, bunch of jails, bunch of detention centers, community centers, sharing my story, man, and just hoping that them young boys, and not even just young boys, people my age could relate to it, and be inspired by it.
Yeah, we are
I tell you what, man. I go ahead. I tell you what. I personally, not having been a direct victim of it, I try not to dwell on it because I get incensed.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yep.
there are brothers out here
Yep.
losing years um off of their lives, years away from their families, and then you look at how they run things from inside, man. And I'm gonna give people a little insight into what it's like to have a family member incarcerated. When you look how they run the phone game, a 15-minute phone call from one of my family members used to cost about $30,
Mhm.
and they will tell you that's for security purposes, all this and all that. I remember, when I first got my driver's license and I was able to secure a rental car or transportation reliable to get to Attica because my family member got moved from downstate back upstate. So we were able to go see him more often. And I remember, man, getting out, going to see those gray 50-foot concrete, 6-foot thick walls, man. And literally, I would have to tamp down the asshole in myself to avoid ending up inside where he was. And I'm a mild mannered person. I always tell people, but that cat buried within me, he longs to get out. So I got to make sure I keep him under wraps
Better
because
believe it.
there's sometimes where I just come across certain things, man, and I just got to say, yo, you got to simmer down, man. You can't. At this age now, I'm 51. I said you can't go that route. You don't
Yeah.
you don't did it
sit
this
your
long.
old
Just
ass down.
yeah, literally, that's it. That's what I have to say. Because remember, I was telling you about the situation at work day where the dude walked in and tried to take the wine. He
Yeah.
came out. he came out and he was ready to do damage. And I was like, yo, I. So I mean, people are always look at and they'll say, well, why are you mad? You got this, and this, and this, and this. But do you understand how hard that was to walk the straight and narrow? To look at the D boys coming up, and they had it all:
Yeah.
the cars, the Jews, the clothes, the females. I remember when I started working. True story. I was going to LaSalle, 11th grade, and I was working. Going to school. My mother had put me out on 16, 17. And I was wearing what the D boys was wearing: the Nike sweatsuits, the matching sneakers, socks, the whole bit.
Mm.
I had a female roll up on me, nice looking female. I'm not gonna mention the name. And she said, "Herb, you hustling?" I said, "Nah." She said, well, "What are you doing?" I said, "I work." She said, "Oh," turned around and walked away. That's what it's like to walk the straight in there. For people that don't know,
Yeah.
you are literally the last to be considered for anything. So
Yeah.
when people are, when people are out here asking why do they take that route, that's one of the reasons why. And I'm putting together a show, and it's going to be called The Compromised Man, because a lot of people don't realize that we're compromised young,
Mhm.
real young, before, like you said, before we even know how we've been compromised. The arms to Iran Contra scandal with Oliver North, a lot of people don't know about it, and some people still don't know about it. So when you hear Lauryn Hill and that reference in her songs, Stevie Wonder sees crack babies, there's a whole generation of people that come out there.
Yeah.
America sent no help. But now we talk about the opioid crisis. They want to throw tons of money at it. And then they wonder why we upset, we burn, we loot, we riot. Martin Luther King said, he said, rioting is the voice of the disenfranchised. Well,
Mhm.
I'm just putting it out there, people.
Yeah. Right.
So that's probably one of the things when y'all mentioned like growing up that you know you wanted to keep up with the Joneses. You wanted to be that guy uh, that had the cars, the sneakers, and all that. You know, I went the college route, but I was like, man, this is a damn struggle. Whenever you know you see Fonz and the Rah Rah and all of them, the Rays and the Lees and everybody with
Mhm.
they whips, whatever, and I'm like, shit, I'm catching a freaking 52, the Metro, whatever, whatever the case is. But the one thing I said is, you know, always believing sometimes you just got to do the uncommon thing and you'll stand out. Like, disenfranchise yourself from what everybody else is doing and try to do something different, and you'll still maybe get those same results that they're getting. So that's what held me on because I was like man, like going to college and all that, being broke and all that. This ain't where it's at. But
Mhm.
held steadfast, and life is okay. But we're gonna go back to you, Fonz.
Yeah. So how did you, what, aside from doing time, what ultimately put you on the path to developing a brand? Because a lot of people want to do that, and I don't think people realize the difficulties it is. Because I got a couple things in my suitcase that I want to unpack, and I got to get together with my man because we did something literally 20 years ago. Matter of fact, hold on.
You about to go in this old trunk. But go ahead, Fonz. Before
What was the question?
he said, basically, how did you come with come with your a brand? How did
Okay.
you?
All right. Yeah. Well, it came. It was 2005. I was in. I think I want to say it was the yeah, it was the first year of my bid. I was about maybe 10 months in or whatever, and I should just you land in your bunk, you ain't got nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? You went out, you worked out. I didn't do the TV at all. You know what I mean? I didn't do no watching no TV, and I'm just laying there scuffling through some magazines, and it used to certain things I would see inspired me. And I would have my little my notepad next to me, and I came up with a bunch of different great ideas. Some of them that I've already executed. Some of them still in the vault, but they coming, baby. They coming. I'm on my master P, baby. But with brand new life, I was just laying down one day, man, and it just a thought came. It was like, yo, you know what? You need to start if you ever make it back out, you need to start a clothing line, and specifically, I wanted to be things that interest me. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I didn't have like baby clothes or women's clothes. It was the ideal to just start up a clothing line of things that I would wear. And really I was just dreaming.
Hmm.
But in the course of being locked up for the 5 years, I would continue to add on ideas in regards to the clothing line, and I had maybe about 5 or 6 names. And at some point, I was released. I came home and I got to it. I didn't get right to the clothing brand because again, I had a bunch of different things that I wanted to try my hand in. And I guess after being home for maybe like 3 years, I had went on a tour, a speaking and performing tour. I think I went to maybe 13, 14 shows,
Hmm.
and I took all the proceeds when I returned back home. I took all the proceeds and I invested it into the clothing brand. So it was initially started in '05, but the hardware, the first garment really didn't come out years later when I had the resources and the capital to do it. So again, I had a couple different names, and Brand New Life, just the one that stuck, man. I was living a brand new life. I'm still living a brand new life, and there's different levels to living a brand new life. It ain't just about me. It's about different people, different situations. Some people, they in a different relationship. They was in an abusive relationship. They got unfortunately had to get divorced. They moved to a different city. Bing, you live in a brand new life. You may have a new career. You've been grinding, and they finally seen your opportunity came. You capitalized on it. Now you live in a brand new life. It's just certain people have been sick, been diagnosed with different illnesses, and they no longer have it, or they just in a better space, health wise. They live in a brand new life. So it just it began to build. The meaning begin to build on it.
Yeah, it's definitely a catchy phrase, and it's universal.
Yeah.
Hell, Herb got going on right there.
What you got? Well, let me see that. What does that say?
Now for people,
soldiers.
Midnight Soldiers. Now,
Wait.
for people that are unfamiliar with the skyline looking in Niagara Falls, Ontario, you won't know what that is.
Right.
Now, the concept was that every time him and I went to work, because we was working midnight at a restaurant, we would see that skyline. There's a skyline tower, and then the other tower down on the far side of the falls. That's what we would see every night go to work. So this is what we came up with. And we chose a number to put on the back, the number that was relevant for us. Me, I chose 54, and now that the first black commissioned military unit in the United States of America, 54th Massachusetts. We did this 20 years ago.
Right.
The skyline for Niagara Falls, Ontario has changed. So we got to update this. I got to get this trademark, and me and him got to put this out there. So that's one of the reasons why I was asking, is because the ideals are out there, even though the clothing market might be quote unquote saturated.
Yes.
People aren't necessarily looking for clothing. They're looking for brands that they can push.
Absolutely.
Because it's like you said earlier with the 5 streams of income. It's another revenue stream. Book writing, movie producing, music, all of that is a revenue stream. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the reasons why I asked, because a lot of people have them ideals and they'll stand pat because they don't see the benefit in it. Well, why am I going to do all this work for this and I'm not going to get anything? Because on the back end, that's where you reap the benefits at. Hey, I was trying to tag you earlier. Hey, there's another man that's got we got to get him on here. And the funny thing is, both of you fellas.
That's my boy right there. That's
yeah.
That's my man.
Oh, Humphrey. My man. And the thing
speaking of music, go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The thing is, and you talked about it earlier, Fonzo, the consistency. Like, a lot of people would try it and they're like, okay, they'll put out a couple T-shirts or whatever, but then they're done. You have longevity with your brand, and I've seen the maturation of it, like the colors and the different things, and you got the polos going on, the different hats, the different symbols and stuff like that. So you always in your lab. You might have been in your lab for a different reason before, but you always in your lab, and that's what people don't understand. You always got to stay in the lab. You always.
There you go. Yeah, no, you definitely do, man. That's the only way. That's the only way it's gonna happen, man. And that's definitely a challenge. You know what I mean? Like, cause before, when I came home, I had my chest was super puffed out. Because I had read 1,000 books. I was, I had so much time to rest up, get my mind right, get my physics right. So I used to look at some people. When I originally came home, when I first came home. First couple of years, I was a little harder on people. Like, oh man, these dudes are stupid. They are, you got to keep going. You got to this and this. But when I'm 8 years in, and I'm still going super hard, I'm like, oh, this ain't no joke. Because I thought that my ability to articulate myself, my ability to have good relationships, my business acumen, I thought those things were gonna. I thought my arrival was gonna be a lot sooner. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that, dang, bro, this is real. I'm 7, 8 years in, still like putting things together and hustling like no other. You know what I mean? I'm like, dang, so this is another level, bro. So consistency is key. But what it did is it made me have a lot more empathy or compassion for people that come out with a couple shirts and disappear. Before I should be like, there go another one came up, he gone. But now it's I no longer do that because I realize, yo, bro, it's real. Like it's real. Especially when you come from like backgrounds like us, we don't have the resources that other cultures have.
Uh-huh.
And then not only the resources, we don't have the relationships either.
Yeah.
And that's stuff that's key. And so I always take my hat off, man, to people that's trying to put two and two together, man. It's real out here. It's definitely real out here.
And I can relate to that. Too. And we ain't making no money doing this, but it's the passion of trying to help others and bringing out content day-to-day situations that we go through that sometimes most of us sweep under the rug, and we need to talk about these things. So I always look at, people think, oh, I can jump on here, do a podcast or do a show, and as long as I need a mic, but it's work you gotta do. It's research. It's late hours. It's reading stuff, whatever, and like, okay, I gotta have talking points for this. Because I don't know who's gonna come on the chat and say this or say that, and those individuals, they find out like, damn, it is some more work, especially when you already work a full-time job.
Yep.
So me, I probably deprive myself of sleep a lot of time. I should be going to bed probably at this age. Most people my age, they're going to bed like 10 o'clock. They're like, I'm going to bed at 10. Like, your ass still be up at 1, 2. Like, how do you do it? I said, because I don't have no choice. But I know that it's probably not the most healthiest thing because that caused a lot of other issues. But, man, it's real. So I respect, your longevity, even to closing line. What I'm also interested in is that movie thing because I watch, you know, so far as Pure, I know, was it like a two-part, was it like, I know I seen the second one in its entire, the second movie, was that like a spinoff of that, or was that like,
Yeah, it was a spinoff of the first one. So it was 1 and 2. Shout out to Deuce King and Amir Reed, A.K. Reed, two brothers, man, that we got together, and we, similar backgrounds and stuff like that. So uh, we decided to just go for it, bro. We didn't know much. Fortunately, Reed he had already had been experienced. He had already did I think 2 films, Bartender and one called The Cold. If y'all get a chance, y'all check them out. So he had somewhat of an experience, and then Deuce he was a writer. He wrote pretty much he write 99% of the script. He was locked up and he had wrote several books. So Pure was initially a book
mm-hmm.
titled the Nickel City because it was based in Buffalo, and we didn't. I ended up throwing out the name Pure, just throwing it up in the meeting. So we ran with we switched it over to Pure. But yeah, so he wrote it. Amir was he was familiar with the directing behind the camera aspect of it, and I pretty much was I ran I played the lead role, one of the lead roles, but the primary story was based around me. So yeah, I just wanted to shout them brothers out, man, because they still doing we all still doing it, but they're a bit further along because they released a couple more films after that, and they doing really good for themselves, man.
And the reason why is because I think it was, I had COVID and I was just going through watching movies and that came up and I was like, damn, like this is pretty good. And then I was like, okay, I got to go back. And then, I went on Tubi and then I started watching the original one. And I was like, okay, to see you, Biz, and all that in there, I was like, yeah, that was intriguing because often people have said, "Oh, David, your book, Cocktail Conversation, that should be a book, that should be a movie, that should be a play. It's already scripted." But I was like, I don't know nothing about how to do that shit, so I just keep pushing. But I was like, that was well put together, and I was like, yeah, that's impressive. It's impressive.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
And you know what? There's an untapped market. I know we have a brother, refer to him as a brother because he's riding with Saladin, um, and I forget his name just that quickly. But acting, live theater, it's an untapped market in this city. And personally speaking, there's nothing more that I would like to see than Saturday, Sunday afternoons, somebody bring a script written about people from here, going places, doing things. I mean, when you look at let's 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 look at all the people, all the, let's let me get gutter here for a minute. Let's look at all the minority brothers who've left Niagara Falls, who doing things right now, especially in the professional ranks. We got Paul Harris, who we all grew up with, Johnny Flynn, Starks. That's just the name drop a few. We didn't even talk about people like Modi, who's doing tremendous things, and he's still in the area. We don't talk about, and he need to get his behind up here. We don't talk about Igor. We see Carlos is back doing things at the school now. He's coaching. His son is moving up. We don't talk about our people enough. So when people talk about, well, who's from Niagara Falls or who's doing things and who's doing damage, there are people out here. They're just moving silently. But trust me, they're out here, and I would love. There's nothing more that I'd love to see for those people to come back and a script be put together for those people to get the due credit that they deserve and that they've earned. But that's just me though, because I've done live theater, and for me, there's no bigger thrill than being up in front of people doing that type of stuff. I get geeked talking about live theater and doing it.
Yeah, yeah, I've been in a couple of plays myself.
So,
It's joy, man. I go ahead, Dave.
so Fonzo, when you think about, and I know you were in Carolina now, but when you think about the culture, because we are staying tapped in with Niagara Falls and some of the things that's going on, what would be your message to some of these young guys out here, because they're wilding out here out on these streets. It's to the point I don't even remember the last time I was on Highland Avenue or anything. I usually come wherever I'm at. I stay focused and locked in on that spot. I might go to the mall or whatever, but those joyriding days of trying to see what's going on is over. Like,
Yeah,
what would be your
yeah,
message to
yeah.
these young guys?
It's that it may sound simple, but that's a very difficult question for
Hmm.
me. I'm just speaking for myself because as much as people forewarned me or schooled me or gave me some game on why I shouldn't do what I was doing, I never listened to any of it. I never listened to any of it. I was more moved by somebody showing me something, showing me a way consistently. Like as much as people told me what not to do, uh, no one ever showed me what to do. So
Yeah,
that stays with me to today. So I'm not really big on telling uh, people that's still in that lifestyle. I'm not really big on telling them what not to do.
Hmm.
Um, what I would tell them is rock with me, man. Like stay tapped in with me. I'll show you.
yeah.
I'll show you
Mhm.
some things, man. And then once I and it's happened. I've had success, and and some people just they're not ready. They're not ready for it. They're ready to, it's gonna take them to be, unfortunately facing 30 years in prison or. But some people, man, because I mentor people. I'm bigger on
Yeah,
mentoring people, and as much as
yeah,
I'm a good steward of my time. I'm one. I don't believe in wasting time. I'll still sacrifice my time, man, to actually hold somebody's hand and say, bro, I'm telling you, let me show you how you do this. Or let me show you how I did this. Walk with me. For matter of fact, my man Deuce, who wrote the movie Pure, that's kind of how me and his relationship began. He just said, look, I just want to sit up under you, bro. He used to always joke and say, "I just want to carry your bags, bro. That's it. I just want to carry your bags." And him being around me for maybe about 6 to 8 months, eventually, man, he's bringing his books that he wrote, and I'm like, "Yo, you wrote that, bro? You need to finish that, bro. We can shoot a movie with that." It all started from that, but it didn't come from me telling him what to do. It came from me showing him and just putting him in a different space where he was able to be, introduced to, something outside of what you normally do or normally see. And I think that's key.
It reminds me of something I was just thinking. I think it was something to do with Kevin Garnett and John Thompson, whatever. And I'm trying to think of how I would say it, but it was sort of like when you was talking about the mentoring thing, and I think John Thompson had pretty much told Kevin Garnett, like, pretty much grab hold of people, take them with you, put your arms around them, and bring them with you and show them how. And that's what leadership is about. Like I'm gonna take you with me. I'm gonna take you under my wings. I'm gonna show you how to get to the next level. Cause we can talk about, oh, this is what you need to do. This is you should do this. But until you actually show someone and go step by step with them, and we talked about that with Tony the other week, like especially with young men, we have to like step by step show them. Just saying this is not enough. Girls catch on stuff a little much faster. Boys, they already want to be hard headed. They know everything. Girls do too, but they catch on to certain things a little faster. But boys, you gotta really like listen. This is what you need to do, because you could tell them, go go upstairs and grab this. In the midst of all this, they didn't forgot all forgot what they were supposed to go up there for, and you like, what the hell is you came down with something that had nothing to do with what I originally told you to do. And that's how even in the school system, when you tell the young man, like, this is what I need you to do, and then they're like, oh shoot, what did you say again? Like, wow. But I think that's big, to just take somebody and you just have to kind of grab them and pull them with you and show them. And then I think that's when a lot of times change may happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I got into
It's
what I
that.
was doing in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Watching. You know, nobody didn't tell me to
it's
sell drugs. They showed me. You know what I'm saying?
the funny thing about it is it's easy to fall into that path. I mean, you see it. Matter of fact, it conjures up the song, "Love's Gonna Get You." Where you
Mhm.
said, "I did it once, I do it twice. Now the
Yeah,
steak with the beans and rice." It's it,
absolutely.
it's it literally is just that easy, and I benefited, you know, hugely, from seeing things the way I did and coming up in the foster care system, then having my family member go down that path. And he always turned around and he said, "Look, if I catch you doing this, you ain't gonna have to worry about the law.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck you up myself." and the people that know, no, I ain't got to tell you anything. So that was one of the things that's always deterred me, in the fact that I was never really built like that. And make no mistake about it, I don't care who you are, where you are, what you're doing. You have to be built to do that kind of stuff. And you ain't getting out there just running around thinking you that man and somebody run up on you. Because I remember I had a childhood friend who got shot um, in that walk of life. So it's real out there. And them bullets, they find homes. And you know, I've had some people that I went to high school with um die like that. It's not cool, especially when you that impressionable age, when you trying to figure out right from wrong. Like you said, you had nobody to tell you. A lot of black men are in that boat, and we don't realize this, which is why David and I always talk about, the education, the plight of the black boy in this school system in America, because the school system in America is not a friend to us. I'm not gonna say it's an enemy, but it damn sure goes out of the way to make sure that it understands that it seems like we not wanted there. You Dave talking about the elimination of the vocational programs, which is where black men in this country historically have always made their bread and butter.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not easy, man. Like you said, that the mentoring aspect is definitely where it is because a lot of these kids they won't listen to you, but they watching you. And if they see what you're doing, if they see what they, it may be that one kid out of a dozen that says, you know what, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go do what I see my man doing because he don't have that issue. And when I was doing mentoring a few years ago, um, the kids that heard my spiel would always be able to finish this sentence. I said, there's a lot of people that used to call me a square because I didn't drink, I didn't do this, I didn't smoke weed. I had my first drink of alcohol till I was 24. That was at my brother's wedding. And I would say a lot of people call me square, they call me a lot of things, but the one thing they can never call me, and this is not a knock against anybody, and they would finish in unison, they'll say a criminal. I come home, I'll put my key in that door, I never have to worry about raids, task force, indictments, or anything. And that shit is real, people. And you can ask a man that's sitting there when them indictments come, people are worried, especially those that have been out there doing the thing.
Bruh. When they used to be like, yo, indictments out. Oh man, I'm talking about it used to shake the very foundation. I'm talking about it's a feeling that I can't even articulate, man. And it's something that I just smiled when you said that. I'm like, wow, that was that for real. Believe me, bro.
Because, like I tell people, I know a lot more than I let on, but because I don't have to disclose it, I don't. So when I talk about a lot of these things, a lot of people look at me and say, "How the hell do you know about all this stuff?" When I say what I say, and like David and I tell people, we are not subject matter experts, okay? The only thing we're subject matter experts in is ourselves. But I've seen a lot. I just say a lot less. So, like I said, when them indictments come rolling around and them people ain't around and, you say, damn, what happened? Oh, fucking indictments went out. You see task force knocking on doors, gathering on corners. They rolling. You better hope your name don't get called because they coming for you and they're not gonna stop until they get you. So, it's hard out here for young black men.
Yeah.
Let me read this comment from Sheila. She said, but didn't the fall of the trade industry in Niagara Falls have a lot to do with the end of trade schools because they sponsored and supported the trade schools back in the day?
Actually, that's a misnomer. And that's an excellent statement, by the way. What happened with Niagara Falls is the same thing that happened to a lot of in the Northeast of what they refer to as the Rust Belt. So if you start with Pittsburgh and you work your way northeast into where all the steel mills were, when Bethlehem Steel closed, that took a lot of jobs with it. When Harrison Radiator closed in this area and it merged with Delphi, that took a lot of jobs with it. And then you started having all the jobs that were being pushed south into Mexico and then the south and then overseas. That gutted the city of Niagara Falls. And I'm going to say this is probably going to rub some people the wrong way because our elected officials were too goddamn slow to pay attention to the changing tides. A lot of people got caught up. And those that could move did move. Niagara Falls used to have, when we were younger, Niagara Falls had 3 high schools. 3, actually 4, if you want to count Niagara Catholic.
Yeah.
And all of them were pretty much filled to capacity. I'm gonna take it back here for a bit. We used to go to basketball games where the city would damn near shut down when Niagara Falls in high school played. No crime. Somebody shot? Where? What? Didn't happen in this city. We go from that to this mainly because the city has been gutted of jobs that could actually pay to keep a family here. So now you don't have that. So now you got people scrambling just to make the rent. We ain't talking about putting food on the table, putting clothes on your kids' back, putting food in their mouth just to make the rent. So Niagara Falls now, like a lot of Western New York, is become economically depressed. Niagara Falls is worse because those jobs aren't here. And there's no way to bring that industry back. So you got people who get the degrees, like David, and they're gone. I have my really good friend, got his degree. He's gone. He's in Florida. He wants me to come down there. I said, man, I'm sorry. You giving me the choice between snow and hurricanes? I'm taking snow. I just I can't do the hurricanes, man. But it's tough sledding in the city, particularly if you are a young black male. And and I'm gonna address this. People will say, well, why y'all leaving out women? Because there's all kinds of programs for women. Don't matter if you Native American, well, probably not Native American, probably one of the few groups, but Caucasian, Hispanic, African American. There are programs out here to assist in business, educational. Most black men would rather work with their hands. They would rather work with their minds and build things because that's who we are. That's why we were brought here. Incidentally, we were never brought here to be literate. One of the reasons why our test scores are some of the lowest is because that's historical. Acknowledgement to Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, who covers this. So when we talk about these things on this platform, this is a particular reason why we want to bring awareness to the plight that the average young black male is suffering. Because if that young black male doesn't get the pertinent information he needs by 11 or 12, the streets gonna get him, and it's just a matter of what the streets can do with him.
Mhm.
And I think that's the point of like even the last three guests when we had B Brian Archie on here. You know,
Mm-hmm,
he
mm-hmm.
went through his struggles, but now he's running for city council. Man, that people can make change. Tony was it the scholar person growing up? He used to stay getting into trouble in school, join the military, but then now he got degrees and he's like, I want to come back and help folks from Niagara Falls. Looking at Fonzo's situation with the clothing line, the stability he has, the executive producing in movies and stuff. There's some talented individuals out here that have made a change. And people, you don't have to settle for what people automatically think the assumption that you're supposed to do. You don't even have to get too deep into that because there's people out there that can show you the way. And I think that's the key thing, linking with people that can kind of show you the way. But also, that's up to parents too to say, "Hey, you into this? I grew up with this guy, and I know he knows this, whatever. I'm gonna see if I can reach out to him, and maybe he could talk to you." But you know, we know how it is in the Cataract City. We know how it is. Instead of doing I mean, back in the days, I think that's what our parents and grandparents used to do. Oh, I know somebody for you. You about to go hang out.
Right.
You about to go over there and do this because this person gonna keep you on the right path. I think as parents, you have to find resources for your children. Like I said the other week, we have to be the agent of our children. We have to be the rich paws for them. LeBron's boy, like, look, we gonna take you to a greater height. We gonna show you how to get there, and that's the
Yeah.
key thing. So fine. So what's up? What you got planned in your upcoming future? Like as far as different things, your clothing line, the movie industry. Like
Yeah.
I know you constantly thinking.
Yeah. I'm constantly thinking what's probably what's coming. Some different phases with the clothing line. First with the brand new life. The website is we're expanding the website. We're adding some additions. You know, I don't know how often y'all seen me when I was out there in the streets, but I'm about to level up. We about to get a little extra fly with the gear. You know what I mean? I'm about to go.
Good.
So when y'all see it, y'all be like, oh, okay, all right, yeah. That looked like something Fonz would have worn. And people that are fashion forward. I obviously have, the subtle things, the classic, the classic tees, polos, hoodies, track suits, but I'm starting to dig into a little bit more of the furs and the nice hats, the bags, jeans. Yeah, so I'll begin rolling that within maybe like the next 30 days with the clothing line. And for those
Okay.
who've been trying to, because I get a lot of people asking about the gear, just go to shopbrandnewlife.com. You can go there and you use code Counselors Corner. Counselors. Put the S on it. Counselors Corner for 20% off, man. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, man, for your listeners, man. And also, I'm in the process now. We're finalizing the script now of a series. We'll probably do maybe the first 8 episodes for the first season, and we're scheduled to start shooting that in October. That'll be shot in Buffalo, New York. Shout out to my man
All
Doug
right.
here in Buffalo. Yeah, and we'll do some shooting in the falls as well. But yeah, that's what I'm working on in regards to the films. I got a couple scripts that we coming through. I got some things that I'll wait till they the ink dry on the situations before I bring them up, because when I mention something, when I mention it, I like following all the way through and bang. Oh man, he wasn't playing no games, so just stay tapped in, man.
So the series, is it going to be like related
Let
to
me.
Pure and all that?
No, this one won't be related to Pure. Now this is it'll be when I say similar, it'll be like, like you got action, you got comedy, this will be it's a hood based series. It's a lot more messaging in it than Pure. It'll be a lot more messaging, you know, just so that we don't want to exploit our people. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be more on the lines of like, although Menace to Society was very violent, the message on it was extremely powerful. Same with
Yeah.
Boys in the Hood. So those are kind of the more of the films that I'll be involved with initially, because we have the ability and the resources to pull them off. I don't got the funding right now to do the hijack an airplane movie. You know what I'm saying? We on a plane and we got terrorists and all that. And, we don't have the funding right now. So there's levels to this. But what I do have access to is locations in and out the hood for the permits and all of that, and the props and the actors and all that. So what I've always did was I stay on that level, I maximize it, and then when I have the ability to go to the next level, I do that then. But until then, get ready to see a bunch of Menace to Societies and Boys in the Hood around us. Okay. Word.
Let me throw this bone at you. Oh, go ahead.
And I'm always looking for a good script writer. I'm always looking for a good script writer. So anybody they got any scripts lingering or any ideas, and they have, they about that life for real, and not that you have to have shot a movie or written a script, but if you're gonna follow through and be consistent. Other than that, don't even tap in with me until you in that position, because everybody got a bunch of ideas. I ain't talking about ideas. I'm talking about ideas that you can execute and then come to me, and then we can take what you gave me, and then I can add something to it, and then we take it to the next level. DM me for any real
Two
inquiries.
things. Two things. I'm not a huge T-shirt guy, but let me put this in here and see if you can run with this. Possibly, you can get some monogram button-up shirts, white, or some cufflinks with B in it, or brand new, or however you do that.
Now,
I'll rock those for you.
All right. We working on the cufflinks as we speak. Cufflinks
Okay.
and belts and belt buckles. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I need that brand new
Yeah,
life
'cause that's-
Applejack hat.
And yeah,
I'm not,
and the brims. And I'm
no,
glad you said that, Dave. Brand the brims.
yeah. Oh, it's coming. Now, I didn't think about the Applejack, and that's interesting because that's probably my favorite hat. I wore Applejacks for like 15 years straight, all flavors.
Yeah.
That's something you just I'm gonna follow through on that one.
Yeah, I'll definitely be supporting you.
Yeah, Applejack. Yeah.
I got to put your web. Somebody
Hey, they want to
requested
know
to
what the
put your
website
website in
is.
there.
Yeah,
What you say, bro?
They want to know the website.
website.
Oh shit. The website is www.shop, like you shopping, shop SHOP brandnewlife.com. And to answer Sheila's question, I'm actually I still got the bars now. That's probably uh, that's what most of my passion is for still in this stage in my life. I got a project that'll be out. What is it now? 5 weeks. I'm dropping an EP. It's called
Okay.
Beats, Vibes, and Hooks. Beats, Vibes, and Hooks. It'll be out. It'll be out sometime in October, actually. Yep. I'm just finalizing the mastering, and I had some issues with it, so I didn't want to promote it until I knew it was, I was going to be able to have it available on the streaming platforms. But to answer Sheila's question, yeah, I got a new project that's going to drop out, and I got Humphrey on it. I got Humphrey on it.
Ah,
He killed the hook. He killed the hook. It's crazy.
man. I still got his original album, Daddy Long Legs, up in the case somewhere. So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yep.
Like I said, man, there's some brothers that's been doing some things for it. And HD's been in let me go back almost 2 decades. He's been laying down vocal tracks. So
Yeah.
like I said, man, there's people who are here, who are behind the scenes, who not only are doing it, but they doing it big. And so
Mhm.
the talent is here, and it's not latent.
Mhm.
The talent is out here in your face. Some people are just overlooking. Look on, they from Niagara Falls. What do they know about this? And what do they know about that? Hey, look, we got some hitters here. Okay, we got some hitters here. Don't sleep.
Is that my Oh yeah, no doubt. All right, Humphrey, no doubt. Maybe I see Humphrey's tapped in. Yeah.
So the one thing we do want to honor your time. Don't want to keep you on because our typical show. Sometimes we don't hear the 12-1 just chopping it, just talking. And
Yeah.
so I want to honor your time. Last time we hijacked Tony, he was like, he texted me like, "Yo, when do this end? Dude, it end when you want it to end." You kept talking, so we just went along with it. It's not like we like, okay, it's gonna cut
Yeah.
off in a hour or so, whatever. It just could go on and on. So I don't want to, keep
And
you
the
because
funny thing, the funny thing about that is this. I remember when we were 45 minutes and that was it. Now we on for hours. It's insane how much this has grown. We went from a few dozen subscribers to what we have 700 and something now. It's amazing. Like you said, Fonz, it's amazing what the work and the fastidiousness does for you in a brand. So I tell people, if like Fonz said, if you got an ideal, man, flush it. And I know I got to get my ass going on the book. Secondary thing, but
when it's supposed to be done by,
put it on paper.
because you don't want me to hold you up
January
accountable.
2023. I'm sorry. January 2024.
Woo. And that's for a book, you said?
Yeah, it's predicated on because a lot of people they have issues when they're dating. They always talk about they're meeting somebody else's representative. And I said, look, if you want to get by meeting somebody's representative, I said, all you got to do is have about 100 questions and you can ask the individuals. Now, the book is not going to be predicated on getting an accurate answer. It's going to be predicated on getting a answer that's either truthful or deceitful, and a lot of people don't understand how they come about that. It's the same way that if I would ask somebody your shoe size, most people would answer like that. That's a direct answer. No bullshit, no ambiguity. But if I ask an individual a question and they got to start thinking, there's only two reasons you're thinking. One, you're not sure. Two, you're lying. That's the red flag. Whether they answered or not, that's the red flag, because you say, okay, what you thinking about? That should be straightforward. Oh, now that's a conundrum. Why?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I was talking about earlier when I talked about the compromised man. Because what a lot of people don't understand is this society, especially Western culture, is transitioning to where men are being looked at as a purse for women. And a lot of brothers who don't know how to go about deciphering whether women wants them for what they can produce, meaning that their job, the home, and all that other stuff, or if they want them for them. And this is where we get into the red pill spaces, and I don't want to necessarily get into that on this particular show. But a lot of brothers can't figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I judge whether a woman wants me for me or the money I got? How do I know she want me because she sees me as a father to our potential children? She ain't talking about marriage. I want to get married. They compromise, so they don't know where to go. Because this is something that uh Sharifa had asked about the system. The system is a system. The system in America is just like a pothole in the street. We know where the potholes are, but we won't drive around them. We'll drive over them and then complain about it. At a certain point in time, you got to say, you know what? I'm not even going down that road. I already know where them potholes are. Let me go another road. And it's that path that is less traveled by us as a group. And when I say us as a group, I'm speaking black people. Mm-hmm. We don't want to do the hard things that our grandparents, mothers, and great grandparents had to do to get somewhere. They made it easier. And now we've taken that easier road and we destroying it for our kids. So now our kids got to work twice as hard just to get to where we are. And that's unfair to them. Mm-hmm. So, hats off to all the people who out there who are actually making it so that their kids, like you mentioned LeBron earlier, hats off to those parents who are making it so their kids don't have to work that hard. I'm not saying you don't want your kids to work, but your kids shouldn't have to work that hard to get what you have. You should be able to elevate your kids 100%. To where they're jumping off the platform that you created.
Eventually, you want to set them up with a nest, whatever, something that they can build on, and they can have some confidence going into anything they do because they got something to fall back on. And all too often, we don't have that, so we always at a deficit. But that's for that's a ongoing discussion. Like I said, don't want to hijack Fonz's time. So I know you probably want to get in the lab. You probably got other things cooking. But I'm telling you, man, you need a therapist for them damn shows you have. I'm the one to keep it real on their asses.
Believe me, I ain't forgot the conversation we had. Believe me, bro. Believe me, and I like working with people that I like. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you've always been a stand-up dude, man.
Oh, I always makes it easy, yeah.
Always a stand-up dude, man. So now I'll do more to keep you in mind. I'll let you know when it's that time. I give you good heads up, and I love what y'all doing, bro. For real, man. The consistency and the subject matter that y'all touch. Y'all not afraid that y'all ain't afraid to touch nan issue.
Talk about it. Throw it out there, yeah.
I appreciate that though, for real, bro. Especially coming from where we come from, just the fact that y'all in this space, man. I just want to salute y'all for that, man. And, so just keep pushing, man.
Hey, man, appreciate it.
Y'all need me, any. I'll be I'll come on as a guest host. I'll do whatever, any subject matter that y'all might want to dig into. Man, feel free to hit me up like you did a couple weeks ago, man. I'm with it, man. I'm Team Counselor's Corner. Let's do it, baby. And at some point, let's turn that book into a movie too.
Hey man, we can talk about it because I don't even know where to begin with because play or something, whatever. Because people always say, "Damn, that's a," and they also say it should be a board game or something. It's like, yo, you got a lot of
That's it.
content out
That's
there, man.
interesting too. Wow.
So it's just a matter of, and for me, and you probably have this mindset too. So sometimes you might have to say, okay. And I remember Russell Simmons said sometimes you got to be, what is it, one track, kind of one track minded. Like you got to
Yeah.
move all the other distractions, and you got to lock in on that one particular thing.
Hmm.
And sometimes I'll be all over the place, and so I would have to say to myself, let me get off social media. Let me stop doing this. I just gotta focus on this to get it done, and that's how I got the
And
first
that,
book done.
it does take that too because
Mm-hmm.
it takes so much to not only to begin it but to accomplish it, to finish it, to
Mm-hmm.
execute, and to be finished with something. It takes so much, whether it's time, resources, money. Um, So only way you really gonna pull it off, man, if you got to do it. Just for me writing my book, or me finishing the album, or me doing some clothing. Like sometimes, I'll have to set one to the side just momentarily for a particular season or so, because
Mm-hmm.
this one thing right here is gonna take everything that I have. It's gonna take everything, and until you do that, ain't much gonna happen, man. You're just gonna be kind
True.
of just being
Yeah.
to and fro, and you
Yeah.
look up 7 years
Years go by.
past.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
that's true.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would definitely say at some point you got to zero in, focus on that one particular thing, and once you finish that, then you can go back to something else. You know what I'm saying? So, one of your other passion projects or whatever. But
That's true.
but
That's
again,
true.
fellas, I appreciate y'all, man. I'm gonna get out of here, man. But I do
Appreciate
appreciate
you, man.
reaching
Hey
out,
man,
man.
stay up, man. Keep producing, man. That's
Yeah,
all I can say, man. It's good to see you, bro.
good to
Good to
see you.
see you.
So cufflinks and Apple Jacks.
Oh, yep, no doubt. And
Yeah.
proud,
Oh,
proud of you,
absolutely.
man. Proud of you, man. Keep pushing, whatever. You're a true role model, and you're a legend. Because
Visionary.
you doing what
Yeah.
you say, and you
Yeah.
living it, whatever. And a lot of people just talk it, but you doing it. So I appreciate that. So we'll connect, man.
All
So
right, brothers.
appreciate you, and
All
we
right,
we
man.
out of here this week. We out early on y'all asses.
All right,
All
peace,
right,
peace.
peace,
All right, people. Y'all
brothers.
take care, man.
All right,
All
well.
right,
All right.
yeah, that was cool.